Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. My name's Teresa and I'm the Carbootcrafter, and coming on today to make a clean and simple card. I've got my fingers crossed. I've got the idea in my head. In fact, I've had the idea in my head since last year when I won this as part of a giveaway from Kelly's Crafty Hands over at Instagram. I had this idea in my head, and I've used the other bits, but I've never got around to using this bit because I had this idea and just never sort of was brave enough to go ahead and do it. I don't do clean and simple, but I've seen some fabulous examples of clean and simple on YouTube recently, and thought, you know what, I need to give it a go. So I've got my topper, which is these flowers, and to make my base I'm just using a piece of A4 card. So I'm just going to pop it in there, fold it over like that. This is the way I do it. Everyone's a bit different, so yeah, so just fold that over and do that. Yeah, I had this idea when I first saw the toppers, and I really liked them, and I thought they'd lend themselves really well to a clean and simple card, but I just, never found the time to do it. So I've also cut myself a piece which is it's about a centimetre or half an inch shorter on two sides, so that it fits with a little bit of a border on there. So I'll do something with that in a minute, but first of all I want to do my my toppers. I took it out. Now this is a particularly, I found out when I first did it, this is a particularly difficult one to get all the bits out. The kind of the pips just didn't want to let go, so I found doing it this way on a piece of just packing foam was so much simpler. You see that one's already popped out, which was so much easier than kind of risking ripping it. I did find that there was a couple of times I've had to use my scalpel to kind of get some of the more stubborn pieces out. I'm just getting out these landlocked pieces. Landlocked is there in the middle of the design. So has that got that one? So yeah, just going to get those out, and then I can start putting it together. So this is the bottom one, so I'm going to keep that fairly flat, and then this is the next one up. So I'm just going to use my bone folder to sort of get a little bit of a shape going on it like that, and it wants to curl up, and you can either do it really heavy or you can just stroke it, or if you want you can do it by hand like that, and I sometimes do it by hand just to get those tiny little features, those little bits to curl up. So I've done that one. I might as well finish all of them while I'm here. So get those, and really pay attention to those petals that stick out, so that I get a good kind of bend on them, the shape going on. So do it that way, and then do it that way as well, and then I can get rid of that and bring in my, where have I popped them? There they are. Now these are the ones I've been using from Poundland, and I found that they worked really well, rather than paying expensive as we often do for our foam pads. So I'm just going to pop one right in the middle there to hold. You don't need a lot of foam pads on there. What you're doing is kind of propping up the middle bit of the flower, so that the leaves or the petals have got some movement in them. So this is a smaller one, so I can't use one of these, they're going to be too big. So I'm just going to cut one down. Doesn't have to be tiny, but just enough so that I can fix it on there without it overlapping or being seen. Right, I can pop that away. And then all that remains, so I've only got two, it's quite a larger piece, I've only got two on there. So let me see. Now the trick is finding which way round these should sit. So is that, no, that's not that way. Is it that way? Yeah, I think that's that way. And then lining them up using all your visual references as to where they line up. And I put down this side first, then move across to this, because you've got a little bit of wiggle room with it sometimes, like that. Then we've got another piece, so we've got to figure out where this piece goes. So I think, looking at that petal there, that goes there. So again, I'm going to use my visual references. So that one, I'm going to just pop my finger there, and then I can pivot. There we go. And then the last piece, which I think is probably the same flower. Yes, pop that on. Again, using all my visual references. So that's my 3D flower done. So I'm going to pop that to, actually, what I'm going to do is this piece. What I want to do is, because it's a clean and simple card, and what that means is that there's not a lot or a ton of colour and patterns and things on there, which is why I thought this white and silver lent itself really well to it. But I want to put something on it other than just that. So I'm going to bring my scoreboard up, and I'm using the inch side. I pop that on there. That's about where I want my flowers to be. And what I want to do is to do some interest down to it. So I'm going to, I think, round about there maybe. And I'm just going to pull that down, and I'm going to score every 1/8 of an inch like that. I'll pop that back on. And I think I need some more. Just another couple, and this just adds some detail to the card without detracting from the topper itself or taking it away from being a clean and simple card. So if I pop that back on there, so I think, yeah, if I put another one on, I think I may be taking away from the sort of slimness of it. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 score lines down on that. So, and you can use either side. I could use it that side. Let me have a look. That works okay. Or I can use it that side. And I think I'm going to use it this side just because of the texture of the paper. Is slightly smoother on that side. So I'll pop that away, down there out the way, and I can now start thinking about putting it together. So I'm just going to grab my glue, and what I'll do is I'll do a close-up of the card when I finished it, so you can see. You might not be able to see those score lines very well at the moment because I'm aware that it's white on white, which can be a little bit tricky for the camera to pick up. So let me just do that, and then I want to keep it in this corner. Keep it in the corner and on this piece of card. So if I bring it up, hopefully you'll be able to see the score lines just add a little bit more interest and texture on there. Okay, so that's that. And what I wanted to do as well, to put a birthday greetings on it. So let me just, got a piece of the same sort of card. I've got another piece that I'm going to pop underneath, and I've got this happy birthday stamp. which I've got some embossing ink and I've got some silver emboss. So let's hope this works out well. So embossing ink on there. I do tend to over ink it, unfortunately, which probably isn't a good idea, but okay, hover and land, and then just don't wiggle it too much, because otherwise you can catch the edge of the stamp and that can cause some problems. Although if you've got a little brush, you can sometimes brush it off. Okay, I have caught it ever so slightly in that corner, so we will have to do a little bit of brushing, I think. I'm not entirely sure that this has done well, so I may have to do it again. Let me just see how we go. Oh no, that's done okay. Right, I'm just going to use my pokey tool to scrape that off a little bit, and then there's a bit under the, clean that end, bit under the A and D that I just want to move. Sometimes you get little bits of dirt or fluff in with your embossing powder, and that then can cause you all sorts of problems, can't it? Okay, that's got that off. So quick blow, pop that on, and yeah, I've got so many pots of silver, and I think they're probably all open. I did look once at putting them all together, but then I realised, you know, all in one pot, but then I realised actually there were slightly different shades of silver, which didn't help very much. Right, okay, so now for the alchemy. So I've got my heat tool. This one was a present. It's a little one and it's really good. So bit of noise. Don't waft, hover, and it goes really quick once it starts. So as soon as it goes, move your embossing, your heat tool. There we go, that was quick enough, wasn't it? So I'm going to grab my guillotine, and I am finding I'm preferring guillotines now to trimmers. And then again, using some visual references, I'm just going to slice that down, turn it round and do this side. Now I want to have a look because I'm not entirely sure how I am going to attach this. I've got a couple of thoughts that may entail chopping it down a little bit, but I'm leaving it long because I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do it just yet. So, and there's another thought I've got. Right, okay, so I want that to go across there like that. That does look to me ever so slightly wider at one end, and it is very, very slightly. Pop it back in my trimmer, and again using some of those visual references. So this end is thinner and this end is fatter, so just taking ever such a tiny slither off. I can get it lined up properly. That looks better. Yeah, that's much better. Right, so I want to go across there with it, so I'm not entirely sure. So obviously I'm going to cut off quite a bit this side, but I'm not sure whether to leave that side a little bit longer. So let me cut that piece off. There we go. So that can buff right up to there. So do you know what, I think I am going to cut off that piece at the end. Same amount. No. Yes, same amount. Yes, do that. Right, too late, it's done. So I want to pop that across there. But before I do that, actually before I glued that down, I should have done, I want to use a little bit of this mica powders just to give a little bit of a blush. Now, I thought there's a couple of colours that I could have used, but I think I'm going to go with the green. So I'm just going to open that up just a little bit and pop some around the edge. Just tiny, you don't need much with the mica at all. So some tiny little bits around the edge. I should have done it underneath before I actually glued that down, was the effect I was after, but hey ho, let's see if we can do it now. I'm just going to use my finger and rub that in, and because it's a very pale pastel mica, you're not getting very much colour, but you are getting like a blush, like a tiny little blush of colour. And actually I quite like there that you get there's a little bit more mica there, but it really brings out those score marks there. So I'm just, there we go, tiniest amount of mica, bring out a tiny little blush. So I've still got all that wonderful white space on there. Now I can see about gluing down my happy birthday. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one of those little pads and put it right in the middle, thinking I want it to sort of sit up in the middle, just ever so slightly, but enough to give it some dimension so that it's not all flat here. So we've got lovely dimension here, but this is quite flat here. So I'm just going to pop some glue on the end, not a ton of glue, just a little bit right on the end to hold them down. Make sure that's the right way around. I'm going to buff that right up to that edge there, bring that across, and then I've got happy birthday slightly on the wonk. There we go, there we are. And then all that's left for me to do is to glue this onto the front of my card base. So I need to maybe fill this up with a bit more glue soon. So all the way around, oops, all the way around. And I just think this is, I kind of had this picture in my brain, in my head, for, well, some months. And I don't know why it's taken me this long to kind of sit down and do it. Because I think clean and simple cards, it's not really something that I was comfortable doing, but I've seen so many and I really like the kind of use of the space. You kind of refer to it as white space, but it doesn't have to be white. It can be any colour as long as it's you know, part of your base. So if you had a red, so if this sheet of paper was red, then or purple or any of those, then as long as you've got a big piece of it that's kind of not coloured or heavily patterned or embellished, then that can be a clean and simple card. And there we have a clean and simple birthday card, and I just really like it. I just like the idea of something that is, you know, fun to make, nice and easy, nice and clean and simple, quite classic, I think, and classy, classic and classy. And I just like the tiny little pop of colour there around the outside of the flowers. So what do you think? Do you think it's a clean and simple card? Do you think it works? Let me know in the description box below. Not the description box, the comments box below. And I may do a few more clean and simple cards. Anyway, take care. I'll speak to you all soon. Bye for now.